So Mimi was a real tough guy, dangerous guy. Everybody was very leery of him. But that kind of reputation, once they know they lost control of you, period, and you're not listening, you're going to get killed. And that's just what happened with him. Matter of fact, when me and my Gumbada Alley Boy and Louis Molito were on an indictment for a double murder, I forgot the name of the brothers, for two brothers, he was on that same indictment, but he was already gone and buried and dead. But he was on my indictment. And I hit him one day in a fight with my friend Louis Tropia. Was in a fight. He got jumped. I hit him really by accident. They jumped him. I grabbed him by the shoulder and was turning him around to hit him to help my friend. And I couldn't even stop the punch. When the punch landed, I had panicked. I didn't throw a second shot. I didn't do it. I knew I hit Mimi. And I knew it was a nightmare. But he called me in, and I knew I wasn't going to get killed. If he wanted to kill me, he would have just killed me. But when he called me in to talk to me, he said, "Did you know when you threw that punch it was me?" I said, "No, you had your back to me. I did that by accident. I mean, I didn't throw the second. As soon as I saw that I threw the punch and it hit you, I didn't throw a second punch." He said, "You threw a pretty good punch." And he said, "I'm going to let it go. You know, you try to help your friend." It's good in a way. It's like a tough guy that didn't bother him. Certain things, if you had a problem with him, you were going to go. He didn't even ask permission. You would go. He had that kind of a reputation, but that's what got him killed. And like I said, he was indicted on my case with Louis Molito and my Gumbada Alley Boy. But we talked about it when we got out on bail. You know, Mimi's on our indictment. We talked about killing him because we knew he would try to kill us to get rid of us off the case or away from us. But he was already dead. I didn't know it then. And then somebody told us, "Don't even worry about it. He's gone." They never found him, I don't think.
Okay, Liam Patrick in the super chat says, "Hey Sam, I recently read Underboss again. I love the chapter where you, a black soldier, fight a couple of Southern guys. Was there a lot of tension between Northern white Irish and Italian Catholics and Southern whites in the army?"
No, I don't think so. I think it was North against South. The Southern guys, I don't know what nationality they were, they didn't like anybody. They didn't like blacks, and they didn't like people from North because they called us the same thing. I mean, that we accepted them and all this other bullshit, and that's the tension that was with them. It wasn't about whether you were Irish or Italian or whatever religion you were in. It wasn't about that at all. It was strictly that they hated the blacks and they hated us because we accepted them. As a matter of fact, I was pretty friendly when I went into the military with a black guy who came from Brooklyn, and they didn't like that at all. So, and that's when I got into a fight. A guy hit me with a tray, if you're talking about that story. You know, and they used the N-word about them and us too, Italians, guys from the North. I don't think that it was against Irish or nationality wasn't a problem. I didn't have no problems with Irish guys or vice versa. I don't think there was those kind of problems. Nobody asked. I was friendly with Jewish guys, and all kinds of guys. A black guy from me and him got into that battle. We both got punished together. We were thrown off KP duty over the fight that happened. Matter of fact, the black guy jumped. When I got hit with the tray, the black guy jumped in to help me. And they hated that. So it was more that the South, the hillbillies against guys from the North. That was clear to me, you know. But not any different nationalities. No. And I always got along with Irish guys. I mean, they were a pain in the ass. They're tough guys. And when they drink, they get a little wacky and a little crazy. And so once in a while, a fight broke out. They like to fight. We like to fight. The fight happened. It was over. Before you know it, we're drinking again and laughing and talking about and cleaning up a bloody nose or whatever it was. There wasn't no real hate between Irish and Italian.
Steve Jackson in the super chat. Sammy, what was Tony Roche like?
Tony Roche was an ugly motherfucker. I mean, he's the ugliest guy. If I had problems with somebody collecting money, I would take Tony with me. Tony, come in. The guy saw his face, and he would pay up right away. He was tall, big, tough. He was with John Gotti. He lived in an apartment upside on top of John Gotti's club. And he was in his crew. Never up front, John didn't. I don't know if John really liked him or not. I mean, he took care of the club a little bit. He lived upstairs, but John never took him around or did anything. I liked him. He was a good guy. Big guy, tall guy, tough, ugly as sin, bro. Ugly as sin, but scared the shit out of you. I wanted to take him home to my family one time and introduce him, just to scare the shit out of him. He looked the part of evil, like you'd have to wear a mask to be that ugly. And but he was a good guy. He was a good guy, and he was around. I mean, I think he did work. I know he did. Real tough guy. Never got made. Never got made. Who would make him?
I have Eugene Kimson again in the super chat.
One time my daughter was dating people. I wanted to take them to say, listen, Karen, I want you to date a friend of mine. She would have panicked. I'm not doing that. But he was a good guy. Sometimes people ask me about funny things. He was funny. He was really a good guy, but we should get a picture of him and put it on. I don't think they had pictures. I think they ripped them all up.
We can find one. Okay. Eugene back in the super chat. I noticed you used a clip using Joey Cantaloupe.
There was a guy named Joey Cantalupo. And maybe you're talking about him.
Maybe.
He became an informant. There was a real estate office on 86th Street, Cantalupo Realty. And Joe Colombo used to hang out there and a few guys. They found out that he was a confidential informant. But the police found out, the government found out, that the mob found out. So they took him off the street. They couldn't get him. His father owned this place, Cantaloupe Real Estate, and tried to bail him out and get him out. And he was going to set his son up to be killed. But he never got out. So maybe that Cantaloupe is Cantalupo. And that's his story. And I don't think they ever caught him or killed him. He got away.
Betty Ann's in the super chat. No question or comment. Just
hey, Betty Ann. Miss you.
Beautiful little kick up to you.
Yeah. How's your health? I hope your health is good.
Yeah, we miss you, Betty Ann. I don't think you were on here last week. Sending you love. Okay. Another super chat real quick from Joe LaFaro. Hey, Sammy, did you know any LaFaros and or have any stories?
What?
LaFaro?
Faro. The name is ringing a bell with me.
Okay, I'm going to hand it over to Sterling. Thank you.
Question from TikTok from Vincent. Did you ever know Patty Boy from Borough Park?
Patty Boy?
Mm-hmm.
It's not ringing a bell. I can't put a face with it. Patty, there's a lot of guys, Patty, but Patty Boy, I don't know.
You have MAGA Joe. He's so excited to be in your TikTok live right now. He says it's too funny because he's watching Goodfellas right now. It's very fitting.
Yeah, very fitting.
Next question from Pomona Virus. What is the biggest difference, in your opinion, from the Mexican Mafia and the Italian Mafia?
There's some differences. The cartels is really not the Mexican Mafia, but you could consider them the Mexican Mafia. When somebody goes bad, they kill wives, kids, they kill everybody. We don't do that. We have certain rules that we don't break. What do you get out of killing somebody's wife or kids? It's the guy who ratted, not the wife, not the kids. We don't do things like that. They do things like that. And they're mostly into drugs. Now, there's drug dealers in the Mafia who deal with them. But if you're not, when in the Mafia, we're really not supposed to deal with drugs. So the dealing with them is limited. I dealt with a lot of Mexican Mafia guys and stuff like that in prison, but not out of prison, because their whole thing was about drugs, mostly. It had really nothing to do, and they gave themselves a label of Mafia. They weren't the Mafia. They were cartels. They were different than we were in a lot of ways. They killed women. We didn't do that. They killed kids. We didn't do that. We didn't agree with a lot of things they did. And so I didn't deal with too many Mexican, and I did deal with Mexicans on the street, but they weren't in drugs and in the cartels. And they were tough guys. Mexicans are tough, pretty tough.
All right, next question from Rudix on TikTok. What do you think Carlo Gambino would say about what has happened to his empire?
He's probably rolling in his grave the minute he found out that John Gotti took it over. I watched a video just the other day. My son sent it to me, and it said how many bosses and how many people hated John for what he did. Now, that flashiness and all of that stuff really hurt the mob big time. And that's the consensus of not only the mob, news media, the law enforcement. They loved what he did because it hurt us. All that flash, stuff like that, it really did a lot of damage to the Mafia. So, matter of fact, the thing I just watched said that John Gotti may have been the worst boss ever. And most of the mob hated it.
Question from Jason. Was Angelo Bruno a friend, and can I please get a shout out?
Angelo Bruno was a friend. He was a boss of a family in Philadelphia when he was killed. But he was very, very close with Carlo Gambino and then with Paul Castellano and the Gambino family. He was a great guy. They called him the Gentle Don because he wasn't kill crazy. He just, of course he did work or made guys do work, but not a lot. You had to really break the rules with him. So he was easy to deal with. He was liked by the mob, but there was a faction wanted to take over because they wanted to go into drugs. Angelo Bruno did not want drugs. So he literally got killed for it. It's almost like in the movie The Godfather, when they went to him about dealing drugs and he refused to deal drugs. And then they shot him so that one of his sons could take over and they could start dealing drugs. So, Angelo Bruno was a good guy. Everybody liked him. I didn't know him personally, but I know anybody and everybody I talked to loved him.
I have Al Capone 1930s in your chat. Would like a shout out.
Al Capone 30s?
1930s.
All right. Let's say Al Capone. You know how Al Capone died. He got the shift. And it's a disease, a sexual thing. He wasn't watching what he was doing. And he actually went to prison. They never treated it. When he came out, you lose your mind. And he lost his mind and then died from it. So Al Capone, be careful what you do.
Phil in your chat was saying it was Joey the Melon Cantalupo.
Oh,
And then
Joey the
Melon.
Melon?
Yeah.
Cantalupo.
And then Eugene followed up with, again, he wants to know. He says that Joey tells a story about Carlo and Mimi at a bar. Does that sound familiar?
No.
And is it true?
I don't know about that. At a bar, and I really don't know about that. I do know that Carlo Gambino didn't like him, and there was some sort of something, words maybe passed, it happens, but I never heard anything specifically, and I don't think he died because of that.
I have a question from Jay Godfrey. How do you become the boss?
You're elected by the family. All the captains vote on who the boss is going to be. You throw your hat in the arena. Let's say I want to be the boss. I say I want to be the boss. This guy wants to be the boss. That guy wants to be the boss. The captains sit down in a meeting and they elect who's going to be the boss. Simple as that. You have to be elected in by the captains. It's a majority vote.
Dave in Pittsburgh has a good question for you. He says, Sammy, what mafia rule do you think was enforced too much and one that isn't enforced enough, in your opinion?
It's a good question. I think most of the mafia rules are good. And they were enforced pretty good. Guys died left and right because they broke the rules. So they were enforced. You broke the rules once too often, you went. And that's their way of stopping guys from breaking the rules. In other words, if you're going to do certain things, let's say a made guy goes to prison. I think his wife is beautiful. You touch her, you go with her, and it comes out, you're going to die. There's like no questions asked. So I think that would stop any man from doing something stupid like that, even though some guys did, and they got killed for it. So there's a lot of rules. You have to understand all the rules. And I think they were enforced. You know, when you got an organization like the Mafia, 90-something% of them are killers. If there's no rules, how do you stop them from doing what you want to stop them? When you say no drugs, or Paul Castellano's words, you deal drugs, you die. So now when you're dealing drugs, you know, or you think about dealing drugs, like me, I had businesses, construction, I had opportunities to deal drugs with guys and people, but fuck that, I'm not going to do that. Why should I? I'm breaking this rule. If I'm found out, I'm going to die. And then when you break rules like that, you're going to walk around all the time. I wonder if they found out. I wonder if they know. You're running scared because you're going to get killed. You know it. So I think they have a lot of good rules and they have to enforce them, whether you like it or not. And that's what keeps unity and keeps guys. Otherwise, how would you control them all? You're not going to, what are you going to do? Slap them on the wrist? These are all tough guys. You're not going to do that. So the rules are really important. And I don't know which ones should be enforced more than others. It all depends, you know. Guys may think going with a guy's wife is not a rule that should be enforced. I think it is. Once you do that, you lose the respect. You lose everything. when we're made, another made guy's is your brother. His wife is now your sister-in-law, whether she knows it or not. Her kids, their kids are your nieces and nephews, whether they know it or not. Those rules are important. They're important to the Mafia on how we look at each other, how we can trust one another. So rules are really important. To pick out which one is more important than the other, they're all important.
I have Killin' Hip Hop. What was the hardest thing about being a captain in the Gambino family?
Being a captain, really, I don't think it was nothing hard. You have a crew, made guys. Some guys are made guys, some guys are not made guys. And you're controlling it. You're following, the rules. And you got a closer relationship with the boss, the underboss, and the consigliere. I think it's a good position. You're getting kick-ups now from a whole crew of people that you weren't getting as a made guy. I don't think there's anything hard about it. It's an easier job than being a made guy. Another thing is you're not supposed to, once you make the rank of captain, you paid your dues. You're not supposed to go on any hits anymore. Even though with John and, that rule went out the window. I was going on work. It didn't matter whether, even when I was the underboss, I went on a piece of work or two. And I had complained to him once. I said, John, I'm the fucking underboss. I'm still going to be doing work. I thought that stops. But he's the boss. When he tells you to go, you go. And that's another thing that a lot of guys didn't like about John. I didn't like that.
I have Gregory. When you were a kid, was Italian spoken in your home, and can you speak Italian?
It was spoken very much. When I was a young kid, 4 or 5 years old, that's all I spoke was Italian. I didn't know how to speak English. And my father said, listen, we're in America now. We got to respect their language. We got to respect the flag, the country. And I think we should all start talking English in front of him. And they talked less and less. And through the years, I forgot the language. And I was talking English. I wish he would have never stopped it. I would have known how to speak. I don't know how to speak it now. I know the dirty words and I know that stuff. And I could catch the drift of a conversation, even though I don't understand every word they're saying, just by their actions and everything else. But no, I can't speak Italian. And but I did as a kid.
Okay, I'm going to ask one last question, and then any questions I didn't get to, I will get at the top of the hour next week. Tom Johnson wants to know, hey, Sammy, what's the funniest thing that happened to you in the life?
Which what?
What's the funniest thing that happened to you in the life?
The funniest thing. I think I just said the funniest thing before when I said about what?
About what?
When I just said about a funny thing before. When I was asked the question, I said that was really funny.
Oh, okay.
Who was it?
I don't know. I don't remember
What was
hearing it. I think you said you were going to think of something.
Oh, yeah, Tony Roche. Oh, I think the funniest thing is with Tony Roche, I would bring him to go collect money and it would scare the shit out. It was funny. I think that was the funniest thing.
But you were also a jokester, weren't you?
Yes. But there's a lot of stories where we left. I said, I'll tell you one quick one. My ex-wife was going to get mad at me, but here we go. I was in my tallies at the bar, and I went to the front to use the men's room, and there was a beautiful woman sitting at the bar. And I went to the bathroom. When I came out, I said, who the hell is that? And they said, she's a race car driver. Somebody knew her. She actually drove race cars on a track professionally. So, I don't know. I started talking with her, and we got along good. And we were going to take a trip to a motel. So she says, could I drive? I said, yeah. We got in my car. When we pulled out of the parking spot, she stepped on the gas and took off. She was doing 65, 70 miles an hour going down the 18th Avenue. When you come to a major street, the light was changing. She went right through. I was petrified. I had my foot up. I figured any minute she's going to crash. By the time we got to the hotel, I was having a heart attack. And anyway, we got there. We hung out a while, and we were finished. We were going to go back to Tally's, and she says, I'll drive. I said, no. Give me the keys. I'll drive. She said, Sammy, I was just joking with you. No. Give me the keys. You're not driving my car no more.
Did she outdrive you, boss?
Yeah, worse, 10 times worse than I drive. I mean, so anyway, schmuck that I am, I gave her the keys again. I said, drive nice, drive regular, stop at the lights and drive nice. She said, okay, no problem. And we got back in my car. She started it. She took off, and the car hit a bump. That little bump dip in the thing, sparks flying out. She must have been doing 50 miles an hour just in the parking lot before we even got out and hit the street. So when I got back, everybody, boss, how was it? She good? I said, good, bro. Listen, I think I shit my pants, bro. She fucking floored it all the way there and all the way back. Then why did you make her drive? I don't know. She said she was goofing with me. She promised she was going to drive nice. Don't let her come back here no more.
I just picture Sammy sitting in the passenger seat and her going over this speed bump and his head hitting the top of the...
So that was really a funny story. But I tell you, Huck and everybody, we were sitting in my yard and outside the club. And I was telling them what happened, and everybody was laughing their ass off. I said, bro, it wasn't so funny. I didn't think it was funny at all. But I guess when I think about it now, it was funny. While it was happening, it really wasn't funny to me. I mean, I don't know. She missed cars by inches. I had both of my feet up on the dashboard, figuring we're going to hit something. I don't want to go through the front window. So...
All right. Can we get everybody to hit that like button, please? And if you haven't subscribed, subscribe. Make sure that you're on all the platforms again. And then, Boss Man, do you want to take us out?
Yeah. All right, guys. I'm happy to see you guys. I love all your questions. Great questions. Some of them I'm stumped with. So, but right now, adios, motherfuckers.